Without further ado, alhamdulillah, we like to welcome Imam Omar Suleiman. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. MashaAllah, it's good to see you all. I have to admit, it feels, it's strange to see Imam Jameel and Imam Omar. So let's not use Imam in front of my name for tonight, at least, inshallah, in the same sentence. It's not befitting, but Jazakumullah khair for that beautiful introduction, my beloved brother Bashir. It's wonderful to be with you all tonight. So I know everyone, I've been listening to the Imam Jameel story. So subhanAllah, Allah's decree is beautiful. And when there's a verse in the Quran, وَلَوْ تَوَعَدْتُمْ لَاخْتَلَفْتُمْ فِي الْمِيعَادِ, that if you were to try to plan it, you would not have been able to. You would have fallen short, or you would not have been able to plan it. And it's referring to a different context. But sometimes you cross paths with certain people in life, and you reflect later on how impactful that one incident was. And you realize how much it shaped you. So let me start with my Imam Jameel story. So when I tell people I went to the same school as Imam Jameel, I'm like, yeah, we went to the same school. I have to always remind people that he's probably a good 40 years older than me. So it's not at the same time, but Imam Jameel, of course, is from Louisiana. I'm from New Orleans, grew up in Baton Rouge, went to McKinley, like Imam Jameel, and my first time meeting Imam Jameel, I was just a young boy in a camp in Mandeville, Louisiana, and they had this imam come and give a halaqah to the youth, and we sat around and listened to him. And I saw that my father knew him very well. My father gave him a hug. My father, now I'm speaking specifically to the Baton Rouge folks here, to the Louisiana folks. My father was a professor at Southern University. He just actually retired this last year. So I saw my dad meet him and give him a hug and say salam to him. And I remember asking my dad, like, who was that? Because of the power of his words, subhanAllah. And I saw him a few times after that, obviously, but I didn't realize the impact that he would have, just through those few incidents, and then obviously through reading about him and coming to know about him. So first and foremost, I actually want to say to his family, I love you all. I don't know you in person. I haven't spent time with you in person, but it feels that way. SubhanAllah. So to see his son, to see his family is really something for me. So may Allah bless you all, and may Allah return him to you safely as soon as possible. And I think, I do want to bring in somewhat of a spiritual framing, not that the framings thus far have not been spiritual, but one that I think would relate to a little bit of what we're coming off of with Ramadan and what makes Imam Jameel so special and what makes the cause for Imam Jameel so special. Sincerity is practiced in two ways. One of them in the COVID-19 era with Ramadan tested us, which is, will you still worship the same way when people are not watching? Will you still worship the same way when people are not watching? So it's one of the greatest signs of ikhlas, sincerity, and one of the greatest signs of hypocrisy is the opposite of that, when your worship and your good deeds stop when other people are not, when other people are not watching you, when it's only Allah watching you, But you see, ikhlas, sincerity, is that you only consider the sight of God, no matter who's watching. So it's not necessarily about people not watching. It's about the fact that you're only conscious about one that's watching you in all contexts. And so the second element of sincerity is really a lack of fear of Allah's creation. And so both of them refer to giving creation too much consideration. One of them is that you look for their validation and their praise, and so you only act in a certain way when they're watching. The other one is fear, being afraid of people. And Al-Hajj Malik al-Shabazz Malcolm X rahimahullah, Imam Jameel al-Amin hafidahullah, these are schools of courage, like literally a madrasa of courage, a school of courage, which is that you did not see fear in their eyes, no matter what the circumstances were, no matter who was in front of them. Courage, and that courage is a manifestation of sincerity, and Allah knows what the heart conceals, but you see just courage. And that's something that when you see it in someone's eyes, even when it's distant, either because it's only in a video or a picture. It screams out at you because it's different than just reading the pages on a book. However, it makes the ink on the pages of the book so much more impactful. And so I'll read an excerpt of this book, Revolution by the Book by Imam Jameel, and the chapter, Everybody Can't Win. And he says, it is necessary to be conscious of this oppression and to struggle against it in a way certain to be successful. Everybody can fight, but everybody can't win. I'm going to say that again. It's the name of everybody can fight, but everybody can't win. There's a premium that you pay to be able to win. That premium is being able to discipline yourself around those factors that will make you successful. Focus on what Allah commands. If you can't do what Allah commands you to do, then don't even talk about fighting because you can't win. Those words are some of the very powerful words that you find in this book, Revolution by the Book by Imam Jameel. And I want to talk about one manifestation of that, of this, particularly regarding his cause now. I mean, obviously, H. Rap Brown, Imam Jameel, again, a school of courage. It screams out at you, even when he is in his soft-spoken version as a sheikh and a teacher, just courage, no fear whatsoever in his eyes as he speaks, which is clear that there's no fear in his heart of anyone but Allah. But I want to speak to it from our perspective, how we treat our political prisoners in our community. A lot of times we wait for someone else to take up the cause of an imam or a political prisoner before we feel comfortable enough lending our voice to it. And so, in Dallas, this is the home of the HLF5. Dr. Afia Siddiqui is in Fort Worth, Texas. And Imam Jameel is not here in Texas. But in general, what happens with political prisoners is that we often wait to latch on to someone else, like the ACLU or some civil rights organization or civil liberties organization against torture, to say something about this person. And then we feel comfortable using that to say, now we can latch on to. And so Andrew Young said something about Imam Jameel, I believe in. Okay, we found someone, right? We found someone outside to validate that it's okay to say that this person is being held on false charges, that there are holes in the case that have been built up against this person, and that it's unjust. And the way that it's stigmatized, or that person stigmatized, is that to defend that person makes you liable for the worst of the false charges that have been cast on that person. So if you are questioning and advocating for someone who you believe was falsely accused of terrorism, then you will be accused of terrorism, even though you reject those charges for that person and you reject those charges for yourself. But that's how these people are disconnected from us. And Imam Jameel is a historic case for us. He is central and crucial to us, like many of the great speakers and scholars and activists that came before me have spoken about. He's central to us. And so my plea to everyone is to do your part. Imam Jameel did so much more than sign a petition. We're asking you to start with signing a petition, and yes, to keep him in your dua and to continue to raise awareness, but don't back off of your brother, especially a person who would not back off of anybody. He loved us, and he loved his people, and he had no fear in advocating for his people. And there's no reason to believe he was ever guilty of the things that were cast upon him. And we should not be afraid to say that he's being unjustly held. And he is our imam and someone very beloved to us. So we advocate for him, and I want to encourage everyone to please sign the petition and to share with everyone else, inshallah ta'ala, so that we can show people how we feel about him.
Man, we appreciate you, Imam. We appreciate you so much, man. Really, man. Yeah, you are. Alhamdulillah, you ain't gonna like me to do that, so I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna just tell you how amazing you are, but we're just so appreciative that you have shown us what it means to be Muslim and standing up for justice for all people.
Exactly.
We appreciate that. We appreciate you.
Now, Imam, you do know your screen went all black?
Yeah, I realized that. I think the camera just went out right when I finished, so I think it's a sign.
No,
it's a sign that I was talking too much. So that's sometimes it's divine decree.
I had no idea that you went to the same high school as the Imam. I had no clue. I didn't know that back
Yeah, that's why I say you can't even plan these things out. SubhanAllah, the way, like, you know, Imam Jameel would not. I don't think he'd recognize who I am, but SubhanAllah, I mean, walk the same school grounds as him, wear the same basketball uniform as him.
Well, you got to be on the court then. You can't play him. That's not fair. You got to play me.
May Allah bless him and free him and return him back to you all.
I mean. And I see your light blinking too, Imam.
Yeah.
Thank you for being patient with us.
We love you, man.
Love you too. Jazakumullah khair.
Oh, yeah, cool.